I'm Sam Perlozo. Last class we talked about getting to first. We just did. All right, now we got to talk about getting signs. You remember we said last time, first thing we do once we get here is pick up our signs. I've coached third base for tons of years, all right? Nothing better than having your base runner come right over to first, look over, and pick up the signs. Usually, he has his signs ahead of time anyway. So the more we can look over there and be prepared, the better off we're going to be when we have to do something here at first base. No time to figure out our batting averages. We should be starting to think on base running, you know, where our outfielders are playing once we get to the base. We come back, we pick up our signs, we check our outfielders. Is he shallow? Is he in the gap? Is he down the line? So that we know that ahead of time. Therefore, when we get a ball hit, we don't have to go down, hesitate, and then take off and not be to the next base in time. So there's a lot of pre-planning in base running. We talked about it in the first class. Know your outfielders, know where they're playing, take a peek, it only takes a second or two, pick up your signs, and now we're at first base, okay? First thing we want to talk about here is getting your lead, all right? So when we go out and get our lead, we want to be in a position we're comfortable where we're not going to get picked off. And when we go out and we say to ourselves, okay, did the first baseman pick me off or does the pitcher pick me off? And the answer to that is the guy with the ball picks you off, and that's the pitcher. So we never want to take our eyes off of this guy. All right, so the pitcher on the mound has the ball. He's the potential guy to pick us off. So that's what we're going to do is try to get out into a position where we get here and not have to look back to see how far we are. Because for that split second, when we look back, he could turn back and fire and pick us off, all right? Two things. Pitcher's either got the ball in his hand when he gets the sign or he's got it in his glove, all right? The guy that has the ball in his glove has to reach in, pull it out, turn and throw, not as quick. That guy that has the ball in his hand, you have to be careful because he can sit just like this and turn and throw. The other guy has it out here, he has to reach in. So be very, very careful on the guy that's on the mound that has the ball in his hand. Okay, we talked about how do we know how far out we are. And what we do is we take 3 steps. All right, a normal lead is 3 steps. We go 1, 2, 3. Normal lead, all right? Now some guys are bigger than others, some guys are shorter than others. Their leads are going to be a little different. Watch me, okay? I'm not going to look at the base. I'm not going to look at the base. 1, 2, 3. I can tell you right now that I am a dive away from the base. 1 dive away from the base. 1 dive. So what you just saw was 3 steps, I'm a dive away, okay? 3 steps. If I go 1, 2, 3, and I get aggressive, 4, I'm going to tell you right now without looking back, I'm a step and a dive away from the base. So I go step and a dive away from the base without looking. So you never have to look back. You always know where you are. And you've seen me come back to the bag now. If you were watching closely, you would see that I came back to the back corner of the base, right here. Why do I come back to the back corner? Because your first baseman is standing here, and that is the farthest tag he has to make to get you. On the back corner of the bag, he's got to come all the way back here. Okay? If we're up in here and we dive back, he's got a chance to go ahead and block you, and you're not going to make it back to the bag. Okay? All right. Now, you saw me take 3 steps out for a regular lead. What you got to realize is that I'm taking them off the back side of the bag. I'm not taking my lead from up in this area. I'm taking it from the back side of the bag. I go 1, 2, 3, and I don't have to measure them off like that. You know, it looks a little kiddie school. So you can just go 1, 2, 3, all right, on the back side of the bag. Why do I want to be on the back side of the bag? Because when I do a turn crossover step to second, when I have to go, this foot has to be in, you want it to get in line with second base as fast as possible. So if I'm up here and this thing turns here, I'm going to be running at an angle towards second, and I want to be in a straight line. So when I get off the back side and I turn, this foot here gets in line in a hurry, makes me in a straight line to second base. So it's really a situation where you're sitting like this, and it's a turn crossover to go, and this foot here has to get out here in line. That's the key to getting going. You start low, and as you're running to second, you run yourself up. That means you don't do this. Up and then go. All right? So we start low, stay low, run ourselves in the up position in order to get to second base in the best time. Okay, we can come back to the base. Let's talk about getting back to the base. And the reason you're going to need to know why you get back to the base, or why you would ever have to, is if you take an improper lead at first. And what I'm talking about that is a secondary lead. Here's my lead, and now the pitch, I'm watching the pitcher, whatever I'm feeling comfortable with here, he delivers the ball to the plate, and I get out in a secondary lead. Why he'll throw behind you, the catcher will, is because you go and you turn your back. Now you have to turn all the way. He sees that from home plate. He comes up, fires back to first base, and you've got a chance to be out. So how you prevent that? You take your secondary lead by keeping your shoulders square to the infield, just like this. And when you come here and the pitch is a ball or a striker that's not hit, you stop him from throwing by taking the first step back hard. Okay, that's how you shut it down. You go, and then you come back. All right? That's how he's going to throw. Let's talk about the pitcher for a second, that he's going to try to pick us off. We talked about coming back to the bag. There's 3 ways to come back. All right? So I can dive back. You saw me come back and dive to the back corner of the bag. Another way to come back to first is guys like to do this and touch that back corner of the bag and end up here. And then other guys will just be so quick that they come back and they go here. So I give them a little test and I say, which one's the best way? And invariably I'll get every one of them. Somebody will say one of them. But you know really what the best way to get back is? The one where you're going to be safe. So that's what we're talking about. Get back to the bag any way you want, be safe, and that's the name of the game. Okay, now we're here. We're going to talk about running to second base. We did crossovers, turn crossover, get ourselves in line, straight to second base. Now let's talk about our hitter getting a base hit, and we got to make a turn. If you recalled in the first class, we talked about a gradual angling out, tucking our left shoulder inside of the bag, either foot, and making a tight turn towards third base. So now we've got first base, got our leads done, on the way to second. Now we're going to be at second base.